think ungenerous thoughts.
Welcome to the Gymquisition. You're in the right place. Today's little video column was not the planned episode, actually. I was playing The Outer Worlds this weekend, and I was inspired to talk about how completely obsolete Bethesda has become in the wake of it. And look, I know, having a go at Bethesda is nothing new. I've been doing it a lot.
I feel like this is kind of like a weird thing to say, but I think a lot of these different companies have become obsolete in a way. Like a lot of them have become just in a way like obsolete. They, like, you see a game like Epic, right? A game like Fortnite that was made by Epic, and it comes kind of out of nowhere. And I think the days of different gaming studios being the people that always make the best games are kind of gone, because there's so many barriers to entry with gaming that have been removed. So you don't have to worry about distribution anymore with like selling a hard copy because you have digital distribution. You don't have to worry about promotion in a way because you make a good game, a lot of streamers will play it. So you can have direct advertising. You don't have to go through traditional channels of advertising with like, you know, prohibitive costs and everything like that. And there are all of these other ways that, you know, anybody can come out with a game nowadays and really have it just be a hit.
Many people have been doing it a lot. But the thing about Bethesda and mocking it and criticizing it is very much like beating a dead horse, except the horse makes funny squeaky fart noises every time you punt it. So it's funny every time and always satisfying. Bethesda is
I
a
guess that is
farting
true.
horse corpse. And that is why we need to talk about it today. Although before we go forward, I must confess, after I wrote the script for this one, I took a look at it and thought, wow, even by my standards, this is vicious. And also by my standards, I say the fuck word a lot. So be warned. It is good though. It's very fun to write, like hitting a farting horse corpse. After much excitement and anticipation, Obsidian has finally released The Outer Worlds, and it is, in short, bloody brilliant. A rich sci-fi adventure with tons of character-building options, a densely packed array of quests, and sublime writing. The Outer Worlds' relentless satire of late-stage space capitalism not only satisfies my need for a damn good action RPG, but warms this anti-corporate, woolly liberal heart.
Like this game, what do you call it? The Outer Worlds. Who the fuck makes Outer Worlds? Game's amazing. Okay, so Obsidian Entertainment. Okay.
Spiritual successor to Obsidian's classic Fallout New Vegas in many ways, I'd go as far as to say it's wholly superior, and in the wake of Fallout 76's pitiful release and endless parade of humiliations, The Outer Worlds is exactly the game we need. And on that note, good news, folks! You don't fucking need Bethesda anymore. What The Outer Worlds demonstrates to me is Bethesda's absolute obsolescence as a game developer. Fallout 76, of course, exposed the company's weaknesses for all to see. Without the world building, writing, or characters typical of a Bethesda RPG, the weak and soulless survival experience...
Because the gameplay is fucking garbage. Like, I'm sorry, but like Oblivion and Skyrim gameplay, can I just say this? I think it's terrible. Like, I really think the gameplay is bad. I mean, the games might be fun, but they are bad. Like, I don't have fun playing them. The combat doesn't feel good. It just feels like shit. And like, yeah, this may be a controversial opinion, but I played Fallout a little bit, right, at like my friend's house. I played Oblivion a lot. The gameplay does not feel good. So yeah, if you don't have the storyline and the writing to accompany that, of course it's gonna fall flat. Yeah, I think it really, really sucks. Especially the melee combat's
was
fucking
nothing but
garbage.
broken gameplay, endless bugs, and incompetent corporate decisions.
Yep.
All the stuff the company is criticized for, with none of the positives to offset them.
Yep.
Bethesda's habitual ineptitude has been on full display during and long after Fallout 76's launch, and no amount of wacky self-deprecation at E3 press conferences is going to hide it, Todd, because you're not cute, Todd. I mean, you kind of are, Todd, but not cute enough, Todd.
Given some of that excitement, impressed you're still
Okay.
here.
More important than that, however, is just how vastly superior The Outer Worlds is than the stuff Bethesda's typically good at. Even if the writing and world building of prior Bethesda games had been in Fallout 76, I dare say Obsidian would have done it better anyway, and we have prior evidence of that. It's no secret that Fallout New Vegas, the one Obsidian made, was simply better than Fallout 3, the one Bethesda made. That's just science. New Vegas senior designer Chris Avalon was a designer on the historically beloved Fallout 2, bringing legit Fallout DNA to the game. In fact, having been founded by former employees of Fallout 2's developer Black Isle Studios, Obsidian Entertainment is itself a spiritual successor to the original developer, which in no small way helped shape Fallout New Vegas's authenticity. New Vegas was witty, densely packed with wild adventures, and brought to life a world rich with intrigue, unique factions, and a ton
I remember people were really excited about this game.
Fallout 3 was memorable and enjoyable in its own right,
Yeah.
but New Vegas blew it away, and it's always worth noting that it did so not because of Bethesda, but directly in spite of it. As publisher, Bethesda breathed heavily down Obsidian's neck during the making of Fallout New Vegas. They'd only been given 18 months to wrestle with Bethesda's busted assets and produce a game worthy of the Fallout name. The result was a somewhat rickety and broken product littered with bugs for which Obsidian shouldered some blame, however fair that may have been. Nevertheless, it still managed to attain critical acclaim, and with such short development time, Obsidian had put together a massive content-stuffed RPG, tons of quests with associated dialogue.
I feel like that's what it's about. Like, a lot of these people that play these games, they like playing the games because they're like an interactive movie. They care about the story of the game. They care about the characters in the game. They care about this kind of stuff. For me personally, right, this is not something that I give a fuck about. Like, I don't care about that stuff at all. I don't really, I don't want to play an interactive movie, okay? It's just not something that I'm into. I feel like it's silly and it's a waste of my time, and most of the stories are kind of boring, right? I like playing things that are focused around gameplay, you know? I love Dark Souls 1 because all of the story is optional. Like, you don't even need to know anything about the story. Like, the gameplay itself is good. Like, Witcher 3 is, you know, kind of the same thing. Like, it should be focused on the gameplay, and then the story is like a secondary thing about that. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm in the middle of this.
Writing and an evolution, not just a repetition, an evolution of the first-person gameplay Bethesda had produced. All that, and the publisher withheld a bonus from Obsidian because it didn't get a high enough Metacritic score. Classy.
No wonder they
As a
made the new
developer,
fucking game.
Bethesda is producing busted games with stiff and clunky combat systems and remarkably dated tech. Obsidian, limited by these same problems with New Vegas, turned shit into gold, and with The Outer Worlds, the team has shown exactly what it's capable of when it gets to make its own game on its own terms, with more than 18 bloody months to do so. At the risk of sounding a little bit biased, The Outer Worlds is simply better than any Bethesda-produced Fallout game, in literally every single way. I think that sounds... Craig, I think that sounds objective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, well, fuck you, Craig. Graphically, the game is gorgeous. It may not be the most technically advanced game.
This is the Outer World game here. This is my philosophy on games. Is that gameplay, this is what I like, okay? So obviously this is a personal opinion, guys. This is a personal opinion, so don't get too upset about this if you disagree. Games should focus primarily on the gameplay and then build the content and the story after the gameplay is done. That's what I think. I do not care at all about the story of these games. if they're not fun to play, if they don't feel good to play, everything else is a waste of time.
The world, and the character models are a little awkward, but the environments are varied and colourful, garish,
She's 30 and
garish.
60 at the same
The
time.
enemy designs are fantastic, and at any rate, it looks so much better than Fallout 76 ever could. From a gameplay perspective, The Outer Worlds has a stacked character progression system with inventive uses for skills. Personally, I love how improving your dialogue abilities allows you to passively terrify or align with enemies during combat. The shooting itself is fast-paced and chaotic, with the option to slow down time and target body parts, like Fallout's VAT system, but more fluidly integrated into the gameplay and not total fucking shit like it is in Fallout 76. Do you get what I'm saying, yeah? I'm saying Fallout 76 is rubbish. There's a hot take. Blistering hot takes. The Outer Worlds.
There's a reason why I never played these fucking games.
Any Fallout game of the last 10 years. Period. As if that wasn't enough, here's the real gem. In all my time playing The Outer Worlds, the only bugs I've encountered have been giant alien killer insects whose faces I've shot off. Unlike this cobbled together, barely functional piece of Bethesda filth they've been trying to shove down our faces since that dark, dark day in November 2018,
I think that's what it is, right? You have like these companies that they've brought out so many successful games. You brought out so many successful games. And you just kind of, it's not really that you get lazy, but you just get used to having good content, and like you just stop focusing on the content itself, right? Fallout 76 wasn't even finished. Well, yeah, it's the same with Blizzard, right? Is that you just get used to winning so often that the quality of your content goes down. I think that's basically what happens, man. They get lazy because they aren't punished for incompetence. Well, yeah, exactly. Because they just have such a monopoly on the market. It's like WoW can bring out any expansion they want, and people are never going to go and play another MMO. Like, it's like, yeah, some people are going to play Final Fantasy, but the majority of them will stick around and play WoW. It doesn't matter. I think it's the same thing with Fallout. And so whenever you see a game like this come out, it's exactly what happened with Path of Exile and Diablo. Is Path of Exile comes out, and then, you know, like they just got lazy with Diablo. They didn't develop the game enough. They didn't spend enough time and effort into making the game good, and people moved away from it because Diablo was incomplete. It was not ready for release whenever it came out, and it was bugged to fucking hell. Like it was awful. It wasn't balanced or anything. It was just trash. As well as Star Wars MMO, I don't know, but I think that's what happens is a lot of these companies, they just get so used to being successful that they never actually have to, you know, make good content. I think that's basically what it is.
The world is actually stable. To quote Todd Howard,
all of this just works.
You can actually say that about The Outer Worlds, and it isn't bullshit. How about that? Now, just because I didn't encounter bugs doesn't mean they don't exist. Yes, the game has some logged and known glitches, but no more than the average mainstream game. And certainly nothing as bad and ubiquitous as we've come to expect from titles of this type. It's almost as if the excuse that Bethesda games are huge so the bugs are justified was just that. A friggin' excuse. Oh, and The Outer Worlds is just a video game that they sold for money without microtransactions and live service garbage and multiple special editions and all that jism. Fuck,
wait. Okay, just a minute. I gotta pause this. I had to get pissed. I'll be right back.
Didn't even have pre-order bonuses. They just made a game and sold a game. The thing people tell me is impossible for AAA games to do now. Private Division somehow managed it. They just made a fucking game and sold a fucking game, and it's
because the bigger companies are too big to succeed. I think that's what it is. They are so big, they have so many people that in order to do anything, there's 8 different lines of red tape that you have to go through, and it's so complicated for these companies to make decisions that they're not profitable unless they do all this crazy shit.
You didn't even have to lie about an online store being just cosmetic before pumping it full of pay-to-win items. Bethesda. Todd.
What
Honestly,
the
the
fuck?
thought of going back to a Bethesda-made Fallout game after experiencing the Outer Worlds makes me feel a little physically sick. Returning to that clunky, ugly, inferior nonsense now would
What's
be
the
like
shooting?
eating a $100 steak and having
Just
to
shoot
shoot a
him.
knife and fork for pudding. I realise I've been outrageously hyperbolic all video,
Yeah.
but I'm being deathly serious when I say Fallout as a series. Even if they made a
controller.
proper one now, conceptually does nothing for me
Controller
after
gameplay,
Obsidian's
boys.
latest effort. Not least of all because there was actual effort in it. Who needs WWE when AEW exists, you know? Now let me just stop you there. That person, you, who is already in the comments writing, Outer Worlds looks good. Shame it's been delayed to next year. Everyone said that. Everyone who's upset about the game being an Epic Store exclusive has already said that. Now look, I've criticised Epic Games and its handling of the store, along with many people.
People just don't want to have Epic Games. Here's why they're mad about it. Here's the reason why I think a lot of people are mad about Epic Games. Is it's another bit of bullshit. You have Steam. You've done Steam. Now, okay. Oh, now every fucking game nowadays, every publisher has to have their own fucking launcher. So now you have the Microsoft Store, you've got the fucking Origin Store, you've got Steam, you've got Battle.net, you've got all of these fucking things that you've got to keep track of. All of these different things. You've got the Epic Launcher now, you've got Rockstar Launcher, there's another one, you've got the Xbox. I'm ran out of hands, man. There's too many fucking things, man. Steam fanboys, man. It's not just that. No, it's not Steam. It's categorically they are angry about anything that's not Steam because they were happy with Steam, and now we have to do something else. Now I've got to download this other thing, and that other thing, and this thing, and that thing, and this other guy. There's too many fucking things you've got to download, man. And then there's the Riot Launcher. Every game, every publisher nowadays has their own launcher. Holy shit, guys. I get that it helps you advertise the new games, but think about the user experience. How many fucking apps do I need to download that are going to auto-update as soon as I install my PC? Jeez. They never think, like, the user experience, it's bloated as fuck, man. Like Steam, like back in the day, you had Steam. That was it. And you had like the WoW launcher or something like that. That was it. Now there's like 5 or 10 of them. It's insane.
Issues with the way it's, exploiting the triple capitalist system to potentially starve the market. But it's not original to say that anymore. And the game is really good. And I think it's on Windows 10 as well, so, I know it's not on Steam.
You're gonna buy the game even though it's on an Epic Launcher. Who cares?
Steam, that's fine. Stick to your guns if you must. It's just I've heard, shame it's been delayed for a year. Like over and over and over again. The point's been made, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. The point's been made, and I get that that's hypocritical coming in the middle of a video that is telling you that Bethesda is stupid and its games are buggy. It's really hypocritical, so carry on writing your comment. Look, Bethesda can't do anything right. Nearly a year ago, I published a video titled 6 times Bethesda was massively incompetent. In the less than 12 months since, the publisher has done at least 6 more things that could have been added to the list.
They should do one for Blizzard.
Just before the Outer Worlds released, they
That'd be
launched
great.
a premium subscription service for Fallout 76. Yes, the game that is so unfinished we can hardly call it started, that delayed the much applauded update that
You know what this reminds me of? It's like, imagine this, dude. Imagine like you bring out a game, it's not finished, and then you add like a microtransaction into the game that's not finished you have to pay for, right? Like a mount or something. I mean, can anybody imagine something like that happening? That's crazy, dude. Who the fuck would do that? Like, whoever is doing that really needs to get their shit together. Let me say that for sure.
Actually add NPCs and fucking content, somehow attempted to justify an MMO-style premium service that cost, get this, $99.99 for a fucking year. That alone was flippin' hilarious, but because Bethesda is Bethesda and Bethesda is fucking pig ignorant, they managed to fuck even that up. Because lo and behold, when this Fallout First premium service was launched, it was broken. Because of course it was. Of course it was broken. Why wouldn't it be? It's
Good
Bethesda.
question.
They have the temerity, the sheer shitting nerve to spunk $100 annual service onto their game, and it did
It's $100?
What?
Jesus Christ. Wow.
I didn't find it funnier earlier in the week. I found it insulting, but now I'm laughing. Fallout First
having a good time.
boasted the long-requested ability to play Fallout 76 privately, but the so-called private worlds were not private. Anyone who could see the server could get into it.
What
there
a
was
surprise.
also an unlimited scrap box where subscribers could store all their resources, and it ate them. The unlimited scrap box actually deleted hundreds of units of scrap for players who just bloody paid for the privilege. The private games weren't private. The storage box ate what it was storing. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. And I ask you, I buggering well ask you, who needs to put up with that shit in a post-outer world? The industry is full of half-baked live services and overly monetized exploitative rubbish, and for a while, Bethesda was a little island of decency amidst all that, still developing solo experiences packed with content. But that's not Bethesda anymore. They traded in all that goodwill for a wretched,
because they can make more money. That's why.
Microtransaction-fueled disaster, and I sure do hope it was worth it. And even if they do go back to making games they're actually halfway adequate at making, they really are, when looked at objectively, only halfway adequate at it. Unlike other developers, unlike Obsidian, they haven't evolved over time. They haven't gotten better at what they do. A decade ago, their games were buggy but wonderful things, and they never improved.
That's Oblivion,
as the
I'm pretty
world
sure.
around them moved on and standards improved. Now, they're just not good enough. They just ain't fucking good enough. Bethesda only really has worth now as a publisher of...
I think that's what happens with a lot of streamers, too, you know, in a way. I don't want to talk about this too much, because I think then people will start, like, bringing up examples. But there's plenty of streamers that, like, you know, their streams were, like, good for the time, and they weren't really able to, adapt and change and make their content better as time goes on. And I think because of that, you know, their streams saw a lot of declines, and, you know, they were very popular at a certain point, but then as time goes on and people's tastes and expectations change, then, you know, people... And like, just like the expectations in general from like what streamers do change, they're not able to keep up with that, and you get fat and happy. I don't know, but like, I'm not gonna make names, right? I think it's like self-reflecting. What do you mean self-reflecting? Like, my stream's doing great. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Like, let me refresh. I literally have the most popular stream on the entire website right now. Like, there are more people watching me than anybody else on the entire site right now. So, how is this me? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not talking about myself at all. Like, it's clearly not me. Here's the thing, guys. Is I know that this is, what do you call it? This is like a big thing to, you know, turn around any criticism somebody layers on somebody else on another streamer. This is obviously not about me. Anyway, the point that I'm making, right, is that this is what happens in like all industries and like everywhere. You know, you have companies that just do very well for a long time, and then the market changes and people change what they want, and people aren't able to adapt to that. And it's like, it can, yeah, you're right, it can happen to anybody. It can happen to me, right? I mean, like, I've had that problem before in the past. And, of course, you have to adapt and change and do things. And, you know, sometimes whenever you're doing something that turns out to be kind of unfriendly towards your viewers, you have to change what that is.
Machine Games' work, but even that's been jeopardized, what with Wolfenstein Youngblood being just another monetized live service game to join the giant mountain of them. Whatever switch was flipped in Bethesda HQ, they've adopted the slavering, avaricious, predatory mindset of yet another AAA corporation. The same corporate mindset parodied relentlessly in The Outer Worlds, I might add. By all accounts, Doom Eternal looks fantastic and I am looking forward to it, but I'm starting to be wary of every game they publish now, the same way I am with EA and Activision games. I never used to feel that way about Bethesda stuff, but they truly have done nothing but steadily tank their credibility in recent years.
Of course they have. Like, that's the whole thing. Is like, it's the same with every other, like, I feel like every super, like, massive, like, publicly traded gaming, like, fucking machine that they have nowadays just churns out garbage and bullshit all the time, man. I see it constantly. And I want to actually, I think this is a really, really good point someone brought out of chat. And I'm going to go back to the streamer thing real quick. Some streamers think that more production quality equals a better stream. Wrong. That's exactly what it is. You have streamers that focus constantly on making sure they have a good mic, making sure that they have a good computer, making sure that, you know, like, they have a good camera, etc. And none of this shit matters. Nobody cares about any of this. Having a good mic, a good computer, a good thing, nobody cares about this shit. It doesn't make the stream better at all. And the people that, you know, don't realize that, it's like if the content in a stream, it's like, think of it as a turd, right? Would you rather look at a turd in 4K or through a webcam? You know, probably through a webcam. So making quality better on a bad stream doesn't make it a better stream. I think that's a perfect analogy. I think this is what they did with Fallout and a lot of these other games, is they focus so much on things that video game players don't care about. They focus on things that reward shows care about. Like, oh, how is the voice acting? How are the graphics? How is the, you know, what does this feel like? The gamers don't care about that. They want a good game. Give us a good game. Good game. Good game. That's it. I don't give a fuck about all your art bullshit. Good game. That's it. Do that, everybody's happy.
Obsidian, who'd already made a great Fallout game despite Bethesda's negative influence, just made a better Fallout game than they ever could dream of and created a compelling and relevant new universe to do it in. If The Outer Worlds is the kind of action RPG we get when Bethesda's not involved, then that company is undoubtedly an antediluvian waste of space that we're better off without. As infuriating as that corporation's behavior is, as shoddy as its product and as mind-numbing as its business decisions, you just don't need them. I mean, the laundry list of their mistakes and inadequacies honestly makes Konami look like it has its shit together. If everything to do with Fallout 76 hadn't already made Bethesda the new Konami, this recent Fallout First debacle tipped the damn scales. And you know what? At least Konami has had the common decency to mostly stay the fuck out of games now. They put out 1 or 2 titles a year
it's
at
not
best,
Super
and
Nintendo
they're
anymore.
almost invariably shit, but they otherwise keep their fucking heads down in the gambling industry and just don't bother the rest of us. Don't get me wrong, Konami can still go fuck itself, and the fact it's turning franchises like Silent Hill into literal slot machines is all kinds of grotesque. But given the state of things like Metal Gear Survive and Contra Rogue Core, maybe that's for the best. Maybe it's better we don't get another Silent Hill game, because Konami is dreadful, and Bethesda these days is dreadful. So maybe it should...
I wish people felt that same way with old comedies. It's like, sometimes, like, did we really need Super Troopers 2? Did we really need Zoolander 2? No. No. No, first one was fine. Yeah, maybe a new Castlevania game would be great. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Anchorman 2, I mean, yeah, did we really need Matrix 4? Dumb and Dumber 2? I don't know about Bad Boys 2. I think that one was okay. But, like, in general, no, these other examples you guys are giving me are, like, they come out, like, 1 year after another, right? You know, like, Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, I think they came out relatively, you know, kind of close together. I'm talking about 15 years later, the actors are visibly older, and they want to reboot the same fucking franchise again. It's like, sometimes it's better to just let it sit there. All right, that's it. Ghostbusters, yeah, just let it sit there. Like Terminator 1 and 2 came out relatively at the same time. You know, compared to like Zoolander 1 and 2, for example.
Fuck off and
Zombie
make
1
slot
2 was amazing.
machines
Yeah,
too.
I thought it was pretty good.
We'll be all right without them. We have a good game now.
Yeah.
At least until 2K comes along and ruins it, probably. Which it might end up doing. I mean, Private Division is a subsidiary. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Anyway, that is yet another video about Bethesda being useless. Now, I know, as I said at the top of this video, there's a lot of those out there. I've produced...
The fuck? It doesn't let me... Just a minute, I gotta go back. Where was it at? Where was it at? Sorry.
Yet another video about Bethesda being useless. Now, I know, as I said at the top of this video, there's a lot of those out there. I've produced a lot of those, and it's still entertaining to me. And I'll keep doing it until Bethesda stops being useless.
That's just like me. Just replace Bethesda with Blizzard.
I've got a lot of content still to come, doesn't it?
Yep.
Thank God for me and all that.
Of course.
And you know what? We'll do some promotion while we're here, while I've got you, because I never do that. These videos are funded on Patreon, patreon.com/Jimquisition. My colleague Conrad's always telling me off for not doing self-promotion. So you can fund it on Patreon if you want. No content's gated. We're just lovely like that. Also, I do Twitch streaming now on Twitch TV/Jimquisition. These are quite easy to follow. I think that'll do. Oh, and I do this comedy podcast called Boston's Favourite Son.
Oh, this is where he sells out.
Jonathan Holmes and my good friend Conrad Zimmerman.
Okay, yeah, this is where he sells out here. It makes sense.
Awful, unfunny, disgusting.
Okay, I got it.
Wrong podcast that you shouldn't listen to.
Of course not.
Nah, that's good self-promotion. That's good.
Great. Good job, Jim. Keep it up. All right, good. There we go. So listen, here's the thing, guys. Is like right now. Check. I'll do this real quick, okay? Yeah, wrap it up, Domi. I'll go over and do this.